WDAY Extra, streaming live at Inforum.com. We get ready for Final Four weekend. Pretty pumped about that. The women's games tonight. We'll chat plenty about that coming up in hour two. Lauren Ware will join us from Bismarck Century, University of Arizona, freshman forward. They'll take on Connecticut tonight. That's game two. The men's Final Four is tomorrow in Indianapolis. Baylor and Houston is the first game. UCLA and Gonzaga is game number two. The Final Four seems fitting with our next guest coming on, who had a tremendous basketball career. And with the news yesterday of Roy Williams retiring after an unbelievable coaching career, both at North Carolina and at Kansas, our next guest seems fitting to have on our show. The pride of Valley City, North Dakota, the head coach at Missouri Southern University, who joins us on vacation. I feel terrible. I'm bugging him on his vacation. Mr. Jeff Boschee joins us. It's great to see you. How you been?
I've been great, man. It's been a interesting year to say the least, but we're family down here in Mexico enjoying ourselves and just trying to get away from things a little bit, and just kind of a crazy spring as far as college basketball with all the transfers and trying to figure all that stuff out here, and then Coach Williams with the bombshell and telling us he's gonna hang her up.
I want to get to the transfer stuff in a second because I know you're right in the middle of that with your 9-to-5 job. You tweeted out yesterday, "I can't thank this man enough for changing my life. Believing in a no-name kid from North Dakota can make it on the biggest stage in college basketball. Enjoy your retirement, Coach. You deserve it." I just want to start there, Jeff, about what he meant to you as a man. You still there with us, boss?
Hey, Don?
Yep, I got you. Go ahead. Oh, we thought we had him. There he
Don?
is. Yep, we got you. Go ahead, man.
There we go. Okay. No, I got a text early in the morning from a friend of mine down in Webb City, and just saying Roy retiring. I'm kind of confused about it, and so of course got onto Twitter and I think I saw Jeff Goodman or one of those guys tweeting about it, and then went to the Carolina basketball page and saw it was true. But just a range of emotions with and not just me. I think everybody that's been touched by it, the lives that he's touched, very shocked, surprised. I talked to Justin Bauman, who former manager of ours and former coach at Wake Forest under Danny Manning. And I guess it was just kind of out of nowhere, even with his coaching staff. He called the staff meeting and brought everybody in and said he just, like he said in his press conference, anybody watched, he just felt like he wasn't getting through to kids the way he used to, and felt like he wasn't the man for his job and man for the job anymore. And I mean, that's Coach, just being him. He obviously, I think, could have went on for another 4, 5, 6 years and done a tremendous job. And but he's so humble and he felt like somebody else was better for the job, which I don't really probably agree with. But that's his feelings. And he said in his press conference yesterday, his wife Wanda wanted him to retire in 2009, and he was fortunate enough to get 12 more years out of it. So. Just can't thank him enough for what he did for me, and then just the amount of lives that he touched, not just on the basketball court, but everywhere else as well.
Can you take us, and I have not heard this story, so I'm going to ask you for the first time about when you first heard from Kansas when you were in Valley City?
Yeah, first time was the Nike All-American camp. And my brother was with me, and at the time I was getting recruited fairly regionally. I think letters from Wisconsin, Minnesota, a lot of D2s, North Dakota State, but nothing on the national scene. And Dave Thorson, who's now at Colorado State, who's at De La Salle, he was pretty instrumental in getting me down in Minneapolis and playing with the Minnesota Streets at the time. Now they're Howard Police Panthers, and he was the one that I think kind of got me into the Nike camp, because I think it was the top 120 kids. Was able to go there and performed extremely well. I went up against a couple of the top point guards in the country, and had some pretty big games. And I remember one evening coming back to the hotel, and my brother asked, "Did you see who's at your game tonight?" I said, "Yeah, Coach Williams is sitting right underneath the basket." He's like, "Do you know who was there? Who he was there watching?" I said, "I have no clue." He's like, "He was there watching you." And excuse me. That was the first time that I knew that he was recruiting me. And later that evening, I got a phone call from him, and kind of the rest is history from there.
Was that surreal? Get a phone call from Roy Williams in Kansas?
It was. I mean, somebody you watch and grow up idolizing. I watched KU basketball and followed it quite a bit. And I can remember one instance that made me really start liking Kansas basketball and Coach Williams. I remember when Jared Hass one time at Oklahoma State dove onto the floor. He dove and he went into the crowd, into the student section, and Coach, they're kind of heckling him and getting on top of him. Coach Williams went running over there and kind of pushed everybody away and grabbed him. And thought at that point, that's somebody that I'd love to play for.
Well, I can't imagine now the attention that would have been on you if it was happening now. What was that like of when you officially signed and then going there? What was that? What was it like back here and then getting to Lawrence?
It's kind of it's strange, with the changing dynamic of media, with social media and just the how instantly you can get the word out in certain situations. My big man at Missouri Southern, Cam Martin, 6'9" kid, 3-time All-American. Coach Self called me down here on Monday and talked to me about him. And I texted Cam right when I got off the phone. I said, "Hey, Coach Self just called me about you. The 785 number calls your phone. Make sure you pick that thing up." And I remember him calling me after that, and he was just elated, ecstatic. I could just feel the smiles from ear to ear on his face, and that's kind of that kind of brought me back to when I was going through the process, and I can remember you guys being there, and at my school the day after I signed, and coming out of the school and doing interviews outside, and just an unbelievable feeling of all the hard work that you put in over your childhood and your high school days, really paying off to fruition. And going to Lawrence that summer, or going into that school year, it was tough. Ain't gonna lie, just being away from home for for the first time. And but he did a tremendous job of making us feel like it was home, a second home, and did a tremendous job of making kind of being that second father figure for me and being a mentor, and made that transition a lot easier for me.
What was it like, Jeff, I guess, from on the practice court? We obviously saw him during games, but all the time away from games, what was that? What was it like when he was during practice and instances like that?
It's kind of weird. The more experienced our team got over the years with when I was there, I felt the lighter he got on us. My freshman year was extremely tough. He was, I was kind of thrown into the wolves a little bit, and I was fortunate enough to start. And I think a lot of that, me starting the first part of my freshman year was due to some injuries. TJ Pugh had an ankle injury, and so they moved Ryan Robertson down to the 2, and inserted Nick Bradford at the 4, and I was fortunate enough to play well and to keep that spot. But it was hard. He was extremely hard on me, and I've never been coached that hard. And I thought Coach Bob Suko and Mike Henderson were tough, but they compared nothing to what we had to go through, what I had to go through, and he just wanted the best for me, and pushing me, and I think he pushed the right buttons. And there's at times where I was frustrated and mad that he was constantly getting on me, but looking back and now being a coach, why he was doing that. So, and as we got older and more experienced, it's crazy how, he even said it when I was playing, how, back in his early 90s when he first got here, he would ran people into the ground, if they weren't doing what they needed to be doing. And I think he kind of mellowed a little bit. And, talking to some guys that, played at, been around the Carolina program, some of my buddies that were at Wake Forest really talked about how he really mellowed out a little bit. But he was a tough son of a gun, I'll tell you that much. And, he was a competitor, and he wanted to win as bad as anybody.
Couple of minutes left here with Jeff Boschee. I wanted to ask, obviously, your current job, the head coach at Missouri Southern State. You're just talking about maybe your best player is going to go play now at Kansas. How we're following here, Jeff, in the Summit League, and how the transfer portal is changing everything. You're obviously dealing with it on the Division II level, where you've been dealing with this for a long time. I mean, I know this is it's not going anywhere in college basketball, but are you worried about the future of college hoops, of where it's almost free agency now when you get to end of March and April?
Yeah, I am a little bit. I think, our level, I think levels like North Dakota State, the low D1s, mid D1 level, I think there's a rule coming down that I think is going to pass, where that's a one-time transfer deal where they don't have to sit out. And, it's hard. And, I told my assistants the other day when we were talking, I said, we almost got to change our recruiting style and almost recruit like a junior college, where we can come in and develop kids. And if you got a chance and you're good enough to go, then, we're going to be happy for you. That happened with Cam. And I think, and I don't know if it's going to be, it may be as worse, but everybody getting this year back, I think, has made things a lot worse than what maybe it would have been or could have been. But I'm concerned. It's kind of like the wild, wild west right now. And like you said, I don't think it's going anywhere. And we as coaches are going to have to adjust and try to figure out, recruiting style, recruiting tactics, and figure out what we want to do. But it's always going to be in the back of our mind, when, you bring in a young kid and he starts to develop and he starts to perform, who's trying to recruit him, and is he going to be back that next year? And we're just going to have to be upfront and honest and be open and transparent. And, hopefully the kids are doing the same thing. I
mentioned this on my show like last week, Jeff, where I think now you almost have to re-recruit your own guys, right?
Yeah. We talked about that as a staff as well. I think that's just as important as recruiting new players. Yeah. Especially the guys that are performing well for you, the all conference guys, the freshmen of the year, those type of kids, and making sure that, hopefully you can keep them around for at least another year and try to figure it out from there. But it's going to be a different dynamic. And I think you could kind of sense it and feel it when Coach Williams talking a little bit. I think, the big kid, Wesley Keller, I think his name, big kid transferring. I mean, that was absolutely out of nowhere. I think he's just you could kind of feel the tension and I want to say disgust, but it's not the same the way it used to be. And he just kind of looked tired and worn out from it.
How much do you want to get rid of Northwest Missouri State, have them move up to D1? I know they won it again this year.
Well, I know I text Ben quite a bit throughout the year, a couple times about him getting a new job, or Trevor Hudgens, Trevor Hudgens, the point guard transfer. And I think I've seen we at least had got to do we did their senior night. We played them at their place on senior night, and they're big. Ryan Hawkins, who you may have seen in the national title game, played extremely well. He's actually, I think, converting and going over and playing baseball this year. So,
man,
so I don't know if he's coming back, but yeah, he's done an unbelievable job. He's built a dynasty there, and he does it the right way. He does it with great kids, and it's great for our league. It really is, and we get to play them twice a year, and it's fun. We've been fairly competitive. We've been fortunate enough to beat them a couple times 3 years ago, and came close last year. And but he makes us better as coaches, and I think. He's kind of set the standard in our league, and we got to keep up.
Hey, one last question before I let you go. And I know you don't pay as close attention as you used to, but the level of basketball in the state of North Dakota, where is it at? How much you pay attention to it, and how much is it better from your playing days?
I don't know if it's better. And I don't follow it as much. I see some things on Twitter here and there with Prep Hoops. I think is covering the state of North Dakota, the Dakotas pretty well. the kid that won Mr. Basketball this year for I think it was Class A. Was it Class A maybe?
Class B. Jesse White. He's from White Shield. He's from
Jesse.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen some highlights of him.
Yep.
Very good basketball player. But I think that it's, when I was there, we didn't have AAU. If you played AAU, you're either going to South Dakota or you're going to Minnesota. You didn't have the power of the internet. You didn't have the power of Twitter. You didn't have the power of YouTube and getting social media links out there and highlight tapes and things like that. So I think it's changed. So I don't know if it's gotten any better. I think just the word, the ability to get information out has increased. Because you look at when we were playing, Brooks Bollinger, obviously Nick Jacobson, Tom Jacobson, Travis Sturdivant, the year before me, won Mr. Basketball. There were some really good basketball players when I was coming up, and I think if it was today's day and age, I think some of those guys would have got a little bit more heavy looks than what they did.
This was so great. I really appreciate you taking time out of your vacation to visit about Coach Williams, and we'll do this again soon. We'll chat some more hoops, okay?
Okay, I appreciate it, man.
Jeff,
have a good weekend.
You too, Jeff Boschee. North Dakota all-timer, former Kansas standout on Roy Williams stepping away after legendary career, 33 years coaching both at Kansas and at North Carolina. Of course, came up here to recruit Boschee out of Valley City. We'll take a break and wrap up hour one of Hot Mike. We'll do that right after this here on WDAY Extra.